webinar on use cases of E2Tally soft and how you can use automate to accelerate your progress. This gives a brief introduction about me. There's a vision of a company, vision and mission of a company. We believe we should be able to revolutionize how assurance, compliance, and consulting is done. This is a strategy. We need to look at how we can work innovatively using technology. And this is the fundamental concept we believe in, that we should be deploying systems and solutions for scaling up our services. We cannot afford to continue in the traditional, routine, repetitive way. We need to look at how we can automate most of critical process so that we can scale up, so that we can grow faster. And that is the primary thrust and belief with which you operate. We want to empower you by providing the right solutions. Let's get started. So this is a problem statement. Most of you are aware that Tally is an excellent software. It helps you to automate most of your operations, very simple and easy to use. But the challenge is now, can we make data entry into Tally much more faster rather than entering individually? Can we automate the updation of masters into Tally much more faster? That's primarily the problem we're planning to solve. So what happens in E2Tally soft is, it provides you an automated solution. It's an add-in to Excel, so it's very simple and easy to operate compared to various other competitive solutions which are available. And it helps you to import the masters and the transactions of accounting, inventory, and the cost centers from MS Excel to Tally in a few clicks. I'll show you as we go on to the demo. Yeah, this is the primary objective. This supplements the powerful features of Tally with the simplicity of MS Excel. Any user of Tally can use, and it's very simple. I'll show you how this can be done. Okay, there will be a few pauses. I think I'm also learning how to handle Zoom. Okay, let's go ahead. These are the 7 key features of E2Tally soft. You can automate import in bulk. Now, we had earlier input single entries, we have removed it now. Using standard templates which we have provided, I'll show you how that can be done. You can import the masters or vouchers for accounting, inventory, and cost centers from Excel worksheets to Tally. And you can export the masters, vouchers, or reports. This is also another feature which is available in TCAT, but it's available in E2Tally soft also. You can automate the documentation because there's a log which is maintained about the activity you've done, and you can generate specific information about company statistics and also create index worksheets. You can also have features of validating the patterns of PAN, TAN, and GSTN. And not only that, you can export the trial balance from Tally to Excel in a structured manner. So broadly, if you summarize all the discussion we had, it's very simple, 4 steps. Open Tally, select the company and the period for which you want to import the data. Open MS Excel and click on the tab of the E2Tally soft. Okay, you have the data ready. Click on the specific function and you can use the relevant options to import the masters or the transactions into Tally. And once it's imported, you can review the results and confirm whether the results are as required. Okay, let's pick up the case. Now we'll directly go into this particular case. What I'd like to do is pick up a case where a CF firm wanted to import all the transactions. They got all the Tally data, and we'll do it the complete cycle. First, we'll import the masters, this accounting with inventory. We'll import the masters, and then we'll import the transactions, and we'll see step by step how this can be done and how simple or easy it is to use. This is where I now go to the demo. Okay, I'm going to start right from the beginning. This is a new company. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new company itself. Alt F3 gives me the option to create a company. Right, now I go and create a company. Yeah, so I'm going to call it as demo October 3. Okay, now I need to be clear about the period. This is important. Now I got the data from 1/4/2019 Okay, I say Control A. This will help me to save it. Now I've created a company. This company doesn't have any data. Okay. Now let me check the other company so there is no confusion. Now this is the demo company. If you go to the data, BSS. Okay. Now you find default groups are available in Tally. Okay, and then you have the default ledgers, 2 ledgers should be available. This is what is available. Stock groups, you don't have anything. Voucher type, default 22 voucher types are available. Okay, now let's look at the balance sheet. Look at the balance sheet, we don't have anything. Let's look at the profit and loss count. Which means this is a completely blank company. Okay, now let's look at the trial balance also. So we know this completely blank. Okay, now which means you got a blank company. Now next step, we are going to import the masters. Where do I import the masters? We already got standard template which you can use. Okay, let me come to Explorer. Okay. I'm going to open Excel. Just give me a minute. My Excel is starting. Okay. Yeah, I'll open Excel, and as I told you, okay, Excel is starting. Let me start Excel. Yeah. Okay. Let's see our Excel. Okay, why is it taking so much time? Yes. I got so many add-ins. Okay, let's see. Just give me a minute. I think we'll get started with this. There are some last minute hiccup. Okay. We'll figure it out. Yeah, in the meantime, do you have any questions? So welcome to Narsimhan. I think I'm learning a lot from Narsimhan. So I got excited after a long time. I decided to do a webinar and started on 1st October. I did 2 webinars on 1st October. And now 2nd October, I've done 2 and 3rd October. I decided I had only 1, but I decided okay, so I need to figure out why my Excel is taking so much time to start. Okay. Okay, in the meantime, before we get started, let's go ahead. This is one case study I wanted to cover where I want to show you. Okay. Okay, Excel is already ready. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking a little amateurish. Okay, let me see. I'm figuring out how to use Zoom and multiple things. Right. So I've got, let's see whether any other version of Excel is open. This guy is still trying to open. Okay. Should we kill this guy? Okay. The other problem I think is when you Zoom, you put for recording, I think it also slows down the process. I need to figure out how to improvise on this. Okay, let's get quickly started. Okay, let me get started. We'll come back to this. We'll figure out how to do. Now here, if you see, I've got, this is the E2Tally soft. This is very simple. I said first, using this option, you can open Tally. You can enter the company info. When you enter the company info, this will also be useful as a part of your documentation that will be recorded. I hope you're able to see my screen, Excel screen. Then we have the system info. This is very simple option. When you click on the system info, it will show what is the system configuration. Okay, this you can use for documenting what is the system on which you did the audit. You can also save it in Excel. Okay, then you have the general info, master info, indexing. This is where you extract the master info from Tally into Excel. In this case, there's nothing. So because the company with no records, nothing will be there. I can extract the general info, like you have company info, company features. I can also extract master info, which is all the ledgers, ledger groups. I have the accounting, inventory, cost center, compliance, and various other registrations. Okay. I also maintain Excel log for this particular Excel. What all activities are done? You can see the Excel log here. Now this gives you the Excel log, all the activities you've done on this file. This also is very useful from the point of documentation. You also have the activities log, which gives you the list of activities you performed. Okay, in this we don't have anything. It also gives you the import log from Tally. This will be useful when you want to import. Now let's get started with the masters. I'm going to click on the templates. Now you can also, I'm making the video in such a way that you can also practice and learn how this can be done. Now we said by default I can take up accounting, or I would like to do this time inventory. Okay, so I say open. Now this Excel file should be open, and this will be accounting with inventory. Now if you see here, I've got the groups, I've got the ledgers and voucher types. If it is accounting, only these three are required. Now what is red are mandatory fields. Okay, which means this should be available. Other than that, you also have to ensure that the information is given in the way it has to be. It is required. Okay, you have this. For in the case of stock, this is the details to be given: units, go downs, stock group, stock categories, stock items, and currencies. This what are the information required. Now with this, now let me just get started and import the masters. Okay, now you just see how simple it is to import the masters. What I'm going to do is, okay, I come to E2Tally soft. I got import to Tally masters. I click on this masters. Now this will read the worksheet. What worksheet you opened. Now what you can also do is, if you are importing from your data, use this template. Now you see by default it is already selected inventory because it is read and knows that this has got accounting and inventory data. If it has got cost center and bill wise also, it would have captured that information also. And the only thing I have to do in this case is I say okay. Now you see it says currently the company opened is in Tally demo October 03. I say okay. It's better always to keep only one company open, which is the company in which you're operating. Now you see it has created the groups. Now it's importing the ledgers. We had about 258 ledgers. 2 ledgers are available by default. So it just alters them. Then you have the voucher types. Then you have the units. Then go downs are being imported. Stock groups. Then you have the stock categories. 12 categories are imported. Then you have the stock items, 25. Then currencies. Now it gives you a beautiful information summary of all that has been imported inside Tally. Okay. Do you want to remain statistics? You want to capture the documentation? There's already statistics, because this statistics is pertaining to what is the data we have given in the sample. And we also give the option to save the statistics. This saves the statistics of what has been imported inside Tally. Okay, now you click on this. It gives you information about what all masters have been imported inside Tally. Now let's go inside Tally and check whether it has been done. I come to Tally. Now I say D, yes, yes. Now if you see the masters, see there are 69 groups, 258 stock groups, everything has been imported with the opening balances. Now you see these are all the groups which are created. Similarly, I go to ledgers. All the ledgers which I wanted have been created. Similarly, I got the stock groups, everything has been imported. Now you see transactions, I don't have any transactions. I'll come to the transaction later. Now I just want to be sure whether this is correct. I go to the balance sheet. Now you see it has got the balance sheet with from the opening balances what I had got. Okay. Similarly, if I look at the profit and loss account, there should be nothing here. There's only opening stock, and the same thing is taken as the closing stock. Okay. Now I also want to confirm with the trial balance. This is what I said. You need to verify whether these figures are correct. Okay. Now which means now at one shot we have been able to import all the masters. Right? Now manually, you just imagine if you have to create all this, that so many groups, so many ledgers, everything, how much time it would have taken. The only thing in this case, what you have to do is you have to ensure that the data is ready in the standard template. Once you got the data ready in the standard template, you can import, and the import happens in a few seconds. In case there have been cases where we had 500 or 2000 masters, all these have been imported in a few seconds. Now let's come to the transactions. Yeah, now I've got to the import masters. We already seen this. Now I'm going to go to the templates and say vouchers. Okay, now here I want to pick up the template inventory. Okay, by default we have given all the sample data. We have done a lot of work for you so that you can actually practice once, and you can use the same template, modify, save it as a separate file and use it. We also got excellent guidelines which tells you step by step what is to be done. Now this is the inventory vouchers which you already have default. Now if you see, these are transactions from 2nd April and we have got about 676 rows. Okay, now if you see the data which is to be available, ledger name, item name, quantity, these are all the mandatory fields are required, and you also got various other fields. Whatever data is available, you can import this data. Now, if the data is not there, it will not import. Now, why E2Tally is faster compared to many other competing software is, now in this case, we read the file to check what are the fields, which the data for which the fields is available, and we import only that particular files. For example, let's say there are 70 columns. Okay, now 17 to let's say 600 rows, 42,000 rows are exported inside Tally by other software. In our case, let's say out of the 70 columns, you got only 50 columns of data. We create only 70 into 15 and import only that that particular amount of data, which is only 1050. But that's why it makes this one software faster. Okay, enough of theory. Now let us get into the action. I've got E2Tally soft. What I would like to do now is I would like to import the Tally. So it's very simple. If you see here, I just go here. What is that I want to import? I want to import the vouchers. I say import vouchers. Now it reads automatically. It finds what you got is the inventories. Okay. If you had cost center and cost bill wise also, this would have been automatically ticked. Okay. And then I say, this is another important thing before you import. Decide what type of numbering you want. Ideally, when you import data from Tally, it's suggested in the Tally you should make the voucher numbering as manual, so that whatever number you give is taken into Tally. Or if you set into Tally, Tally will renumber the vouchers regardless of whatever numbers you give. Okay, the disadvantage in that case is, suppose the same sheet to import again, Tally will renumber and re-import it again. Whereas in this case, if you do it this way, manually we'll check whether the same voucher is available as a duplicate. Now, enough of talk. Let's see how we can import. We had about 600 plus. I'm going to say okay. Now it tells you this is a voucher company which is open. I say okay. Please validate before importing. I can also do validate. Here I didn't do the validate. Automatically do the validation. Now it's validating the vouchers. What are the validations? It also gives you the message validating whether debit and credit values tally, which means for each of the transactions, whether the debit and the credit tally, we are verifying. Okay, for each of the rows, whatever those rows are there, it verifies for each unique transaction ID whether the debit total and the credit total tallies. Okay, once this is done, next you can also see what other validations done. Once the validation is done, then the import will happen for all the vouchers one by one, and you should be able to get a message that all the vouchers have been imported. Now, one question which is always asked is, okay, in fact, one CA told me, see, if I have to prepare all this data in Excel like this, I can as well ask my staff to enter this in Tally itself. Why should I unnecessarily go and prepare this particular data again? So the answer for that is two things. One, it is possible that you get the data in this particular, it may take certain time for you to prepare the data, but what could happen is there could be somebody who prepares the data based on this particular documentation, and you can prepare the documentation, verify everything, and after that you can import it at one shot. It should not take so much time. Okay, there's some issue here. Okay, let me see. Before it figures out, let me go to the, we had the masters here. Okay, next time I have to figure out if the Zoom recording is happening, how can I use this? Okay. Let me finish the presentation in 2 minutes. Let's see whether something happens there. Okay, now this is a case study where we have the importing of the masters and the transactions. And then you can also import all types of transactions. Now, to respond to the previous question which I asked you, if you got transactions, let's say pertaining to sales, purchase, or any voucher for that matter, you can get the data in whatever format you want. For example, every transaction is available in a single row. You can convert this into the tally format and import it. Okay, this is the second case which I wanted to show you, how you can import the sales and purchases. Okay, we also have a case where you can import the bank statements. Multiple bank statements for each of the years can be imported one shot. You also have this one company who is actually having this one recurring entries. They have about 15 branches. They have multiple JVs to be passed. What they do is they have prepared a template of all the JVs to be passed. For each of the month, they just modify that month, and then based on that, they're able to import all the JVs at one shot, which are regular JVs. They're able to import this. This also I wanted to show you. There is also another company, which is a Hyundai dealer, and they have this services which is done for all the Hyundai cars. And at the end of the day, let's say about 80 cars or 100 cars are serviced. These cars which are serviced, they get a report from the Hyundai giving all the details in Excel. And that Excel template, we're able to convert into Tally and import it. Okay, so you can convert everything is as a journal voucher. So the important thing is you can automate the import of the masters and the transactions from MS Excel to Tally and avoid manual data entry. Wherever possible, you can ensure the data is available. You get the data entered by your staff. There's some staff who enters all this data, and then you can import it. In fact, there was an interesting question yesterday for one CA, and they said that we get the data mostly in manual form. How do we do that? So in that case, there are two ways you can do. It depends on the volume. If you've got a lot of data which you're getting in manual form, there are software through which you can read the document, and based on that you can automate, and then you can import the data. Or the second option is you can have one of your staff to enter the data, because from that particular voucher, let's say purchase vouchers, you want to pick up 5 or 6 elements of data. You can give a standard template to your staff in Excel. They enter the data from the particular documents, and then you can import it at one shot. So this is what you want to tell you, that in case of E2Tally soft, it's an automated solution. It's an add-in to software where you can import the master transactions in one shot. And like I said, automation requires preparation. In fact, what is surprising is I spent yesterday night, spent 2 hours walking through all the things to check whether everything's correct. And still sometimes technology can fail. Anyhow, we'll see how best to make it work. This is what I want to cover as far as the theory is concerned. Let me come back and check what's happening to my Excel. So something has happened to Excel. Okay, I think this is one problem you'll typically face when you got multiple copies of Excel open. I'm going to close Excel and reopen. It could be possible. This is also another thing which you figure out. Sometimes Excel 2016, especially if you're using the Office 365, Excel sometimes opens in the background. And if Excel opens in the background, you'll have this issue that it's our software is not able to figure out where to put that particular data and from where to read the files. That's where I think we can get into problems. Let's see now, do we have only one version of Excel? Yes. Okay, so we have imported the masters. Now let's see if I'm able to finish this. Do we have multiple versions of Excel open? Let me just check. Okay, so here we have not opened any Excel. Do we have any Excel here? Sometimes it's there in the background. That's what could be causing problems. It looks like about too many things of Google Chrome open. Okay, see, we have this. This is the guy who's causing this problem for us. See, now you see. So this fellow was open in the background, and that's what was causing us the problem. Okay, good. So now we figured out where the problem was. Why does it open the background? We don't know. Sometimes Microsoft has its own nuances. So I think now we should be able to. Yeah, now this is another message you'll get when Excel crashes. He tries to put the blame on the add-in. Do you want to start in safe mode? I'll say no, because I think the problem is not his. He says whatever add-in is there that caused the problem. That's why he said the problem was caused. And he tries to disable. If you disable again, you have to go and enable. Okay, this is also a lesson. I think I should not have too many add-ins here for the demo. I'll keep only the add-ins which are required. Now that's where I think the problem was. It has Excel has opened the background, and that's why it is taking so much time. Okay, just for those of you who waited patiently, don't worry. You'll definitely get value for your money. Okay, very good. Now I think we should be ready to go. Yeah, all of you are able to see the Excel worksheet. Can just one of you give me the confirmation? Okay, let me get started. Now we are coming to the vouchers. Now I'm coming to import. First, I am going to pick up the data. This is what I got. I want to pick up the inventory. This is where we got stuck last time. I say yes. Okay. Now I've got the inventory vouchers. This is what I wanted to import. Now I go to import to Tally vouchers. Now I said inventory by default is taken. I'm going to say okay. So it gives me the name of the company. Please validate. Yes. Now this is where we got stuck last time. See, it goes in a few seconds. Validating if ledgers are available in Tally. Each of the ledgers, what is available, it will check whether the ledgers are available in Tally. Only then it will be posted. See, now it's picked up everything. Validating results, loading results. Okay. Importing vouchers. Now this is where, just imagine now, like look at 1141 now. This is where it started importing of the vouchers. Let's see how many vouchers it imports and how much time it takes. In fact, there is an interesting case. We did one automation for one NGO where they had about 24,000 rows. And this had to be, these are import from Oracle based software. Now you see, and we are able to import all that, creating about 2000 plus transactions in a few minutes. So we created 154 transactions. Just imagine manually. Now this gives you a summary of all the vouchers which is there. Do you want to create statistics? I say no. Now you see all these 500 plus transactions we're able to import. Once everything goes smooth, and then I think there's no problem. So you see in 1 minute we have been able to post all these transactions into Tally. Now manually you can just imagine, even if one transaction takes 2 minutes, it will take about 300 minutes. And we are not sure whether the entry has happened correctly. So it means what takes about 5 to 6 hours, I'm able to do in few minutes. Okay, but the only thing is you have to get the data right. Now let me just confirm from Tally whether the data has been correctly imported. I go to DSS. Now you see that totally 154 vouchers. We had 82 sales vouchers. Let's go inside this and check. Now you see, there is no difference at all as far as the transaction is concerned. It's like manually what you've entered in Tally. The same thing is copied. The only thing is, it could be possible some of the parameters you are not given. What are parameters, what are data elements you are given, that will be captured. Later on, if you want to go and add directly, you can go and add in Tally. Not only that, we are given one more option in masters where you can go and update the masters for the specific elements itself. See, all the vouchers are available here. Okay, so all this is how you can import the vouchers. So now I've given you one round of how you can import the masters and the transactions, and you have the accounts inside Tally in a few minutes. Okay, now let's go to the next challenge which you face, and that is, okay, I don't get the data in this format. Let's say the most important thing which we have is, let's say I got this bank statement. Okay, now I have got this bank statement. I want to convert this bank statement and import. So for that, what I'm going to do is, now this is the most interesting part of it. I'm going to walk you through all this convert to voucher formats with sample templates. Now you see the data can be in different formats or templates, and still I can import. Now I'm going to the format. Now first I'm going to pick up, let's say, sales, purchases, services, like that. I've got about 7 types of documents which are available. I'm going to pick up the first thing, which is the bank statement, which is the most favorite. Now in bank statement, there could be single amount or it could debit and credit. I'm going to do both. Okay, just follow me quickly. It's very simple. I'm using with the sample data. I'm planning to do some more webinars in the near future where I'm going to use the client data. Clients themselves have shared some of the data. I'm going to sanitize the data and show you how even with hundreds of entries, I can import this and convert it. Now this is a bank statement which has been downloaded from Excel. The only thing which has been done is I added a corresponding ledger. Okay. Now this is this one. How many transactions do we have? We have about 340 rows. And if you leave the top rows, maybe there will be about 330 rows. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to convert this into a tally voucher. Okay. Ultimately, whatever data you have, finally you should be able to convert into tally voucher. How do I do that? Let's see. I come to E2Tally soft. Just follow this, very, very simple. If you get the logic right, I go to bank statement. I open this template. I give the name of the bank. Let's say I give it a HDFC. Okay. I can also connect to tally, and from there I can pick up the data. I have to give the column heading, which is the column heading here. Okay, now if you see, by default, if it is available in the first row, it also picks up the last row and tells you 341 is the last row. Okay, now I can do two things. I can enter for each of the transactions. I don't have time to enter the corresponding ledger. I can give, for example, I want to put the corresponding transaction in suspense account. I can do that. Or I've already prepared the data. I've got the corresponding ledger here. I go and select the corresponding ledger here. Okay, now by default, it has picked up the transaction date, check number, everything based on the field names. Okay, now simple. The next, how many clicks did I do now? We just see a few data only entered and a few clicks. Now I have to go and say convert data. Now this will read all the rows one by one and convert this and gives you the statistics of this particular data. So there are 277 withdrawals and 57 credits. Okay, now this is the data which is available. It gives you the complete data so that you can just verify. Now, what I'd like to do is I would like to preview the vouchers. I would like to see the transactions in the voucher format. Okay, this is the data which is available in the voucher format. Now here also there is another interesting feature. I can connect to tally and I can go and enter manually that ledger name from tally. Okay, but that would be feasible if you got minimum number of transactions. You can go directly and enter it here. So it means you connect to tally here, it will connect to tally, and HDFC by default would be taken, bank would be taken. So now automatically we also built in some artificial intelligence in this. It'll read the narration. Based on the narration, it picks up whether it's others, whether it's the e-fund transfer, everything is taken care of. It also knows whether it's a receipt or a payment based on whether it's a debit or a credit. Now I've got this. What do I need to do? I can also do a validate. What does validate do here? Mandatory and totals are valid. This is what it checks, which means before posting, you can also confirm whether all the mandatory fields are available. For example, if the ledger name is not available or the date is not available or voucher number is not available, it validate. Okay. So what do I need to do? I need to browse and save this file. So I come back here and I save this file. So it means once I save this file, now data has been exported. You want to open the Excel file. Now see, it creates an Excel file with all the statistics. I got all these as a ledger voucher. Now see, this is what is the format in which I can import. What do I do next? Which I'm not going to show now because the same thing is applicable for everything. I just go to E2Tally soft. And then I say import to tally vouchers, and then I'm ready to import this. Okay, the only thing in that case is I have to check whether all the ledger names are available, right? So it means now if you see, there are about how many transactions? 334 rows of transactions. Okay, about 235 vouchers. All these vouchers from the bank we are able to convert in one shot in a few minutes. And not only that, I can just import in a 1 or 2 minutes. Okay. Now, if the ledgers are not available, I can also create the ledgers masters and import it at one shot. Okay. This I showed you one example of bank statement. I'll do this once again for bank statement with 2 columns. I'm picking up bank statement and I've got debit and credit column. Okay. These are standard format. We studied the formats of multiple banks, and based on that, we found most of the cases the data is available either in single column or multiple columns. This is the data. We read the guidelines. Okay, now we have the sample data. See here, it could be coming as withdrawals or deposits. There are also issues. Some banks, they say, some CS, they say that we get the data in PDF. I say if you got PDF, you can use the PDF converter and convert it, but there could be some formatting issues. That is a problem. Okay, so it's better that you are able to get the data in Excel. Otherwise, ensure the formatting everything, because sometimes when you convert from PDF to Excel, the amount may not be in numeric format or the date may not be in date format. That could be the issue. Okay, now I'm quickly going to show you how I can convert this into a tally voucher. Okay, I come to E2Tally soft. So if you see here, simple, what is that I need to do? I click on the bank statement. Okay, I give the name of the bank. Let's say this is ICICI Bank. I can connect to Tally and then give the name of the bank. I give the column heading. Now here the column heading is this. Okay. Now it's not able to pick up the last column because this is not the first row. So what I have to do in that case is I have to go and manually say which is the last column. So I come back here and go to the last column and I say this is the last column. Okay, now by default it's already picked up the transaction date, everything. Okay, now I have to give the corresponding ledger. In this case, for the purpose of demo, we also added some corresponding ledger names. I got the corresponding ledger name, that's all. Okay, which means with a few elements of data, I'm able to convert this bank statement. Now you see here we have got debits, 52, credits. Then this gives me all the transactions. How does the transaction look like? This for you to check whether everything is right. Okay, these are the elements of transactions which are there. Now I say I want to preview the vouchers. I can preview the vouchers. Now you see all the transactions in the bank statement have been converted as journal voucher. Ultimately in Tally, whatever transaction you got, it is converted as a voucher. Okay, so it's a receipt voucher, payment voucher, whatever it is. Now by default, it has taken the payment, receipt, everything has been converted and the narration is also added. Let's say now you want to add a new narration, add that column and add the narration. You want to add the bill reference, other things, there are clients who have done that. You in the bank statement itself, you can add the bill reference and add the details. Or you want cost center details, you can add the cost category and cost center details. Okay, so this is how you are able to convert this data. Now what do I do next? I browse, save the file, and then I'm ready to import. Right? Do you want to close? Yes. Now we have seen now bank statement, how it can be converted. Now let's go to the sales. Now I'm going to pick up the sales. Sales has got multiple types. I've got single rate, I have got multiple rate. Single rate, I'll show you the format, then you'll get an idea. In multiple rates, again, there can be multiple GST rates in multiple rows, or there could be multiple GST rows in multiple columns. Okay, I'm going to pick up one example, single rate. I'm going to take the sample data. All these formats were developed based on various feedback from various clients who shared that I want this data, I have this data in this format, how do I import? Okay, now I've got this data. Now, most important thing is get the data right. Now here you have the transaction ID, which is the transaction name you want. You have the debit of the party. This is the voucher type, GSTN. If you want to import GSTN, you can do. But in Tally, actually, when you create the ledger name, the GSTN should have been actually imported. But you want to add the GSTN, you can also add it. Invoice number, invoice date, service charges. Now you need to get the debit and the credit right here. So if you see here, these are service charges for which there is output GST, output CGST. Okay, output IGST is also there, and there is a debit amount. Okay, now in this case, they also had with the bill reference number. This is what is available. Now I've got these transactions. What is the number of transactions? It doesn't matter what will be the number of transactions. If you get the beauty of automation is if you get the process right, whether it's 3 transactions or 3,000 transactions, computer will take care. Now what you need to do is you need to figure out and see that you get the data right in the right format. Now I'm picking up the sales. I go to the sales. It opened that particular format. I got this format. So this, see the process in most of the cases we have standardized the process. So you give the company name. Let's say I give it as ABC. I can also connect to Tally and pick up the name of the company. Okay. By default, it is picked up the invoice date, voucher type. Now these are the standard elements which are required. Voucher number. What is the voucher number I want? I want to give this as the invoice number. Okay. Ledger name, debit. So here I have got the debit party name. This is done. Now this is a single. Yes. Now I go to the interesting part, which is where I pick up the corresponding. Now here, in this case, the header itself has the ledger name. So here I go and select the service charges. Okay, now by default, it is actually picked up headers as ledger name. This is what you want to import, and output SGST. This is what you got. Okay, now here SS is not there, so I have not picked up that. That's all I have to do. I want to add additional details. I can go to additional details. Now here, if you see, I can say I want bill-wise details also. I can say bill-wise details. Here I go and select the bill type. Okay, I got the bill type. Now I have the reference number. We have the bill ref. Now the data has to be given in the correct format. That's why I suggest first prepare and get the data right. Then it becomes very simple. When you got a bill, it wants the bill debit and bill credit. Now if you select wrongly, then again there will be validation error. I got the bill credit. Now I got the credit period. These are the standard elements which are required for importing with Okay, this is what I've got. And then I say convert data. Now these transactions, you see, automatically this is what I get. First I check the statistics to check whether the data is correct and complete. Now you see this total amount, number of debits 30. Okay, total amount value is 1,13,000. I can go to Excel and check before that whether this data is correct. It also gives me the IGST, SGST, CGST, etc. Now the most important thing, I want to preview this as a voucher. Now you see, all these transactions pertaining to sales have been converted into a journal voucher, into sales voucher, which can be imported into Tally. So HDFC Bank, Chennai, because this is a company which provides services to different banks. So the bank is debited, service charge is credited, output SGST is credited, and output SGST, CGST and SGST is credited. Like that, for each of this, there is a transaction ID. This is a transaction ID which will be stored inside Tally when it's imported. So all this data, I can, what do? Same process, I just save this file and it will be saved as an Excel file, and using import Tally, I can import this. Now this is sales. Now let me go and show you sales with multiple rates, because this is another interesting thing. I go to formats, I pick up the sales and I want with multiple rate, multiple GST rates in multiple rows. See, this is another interesting factor, or it can be multiple columns. I'll just give you one example. I'll say open. Now look at the data, how this data is available. You can decide the data depending on the type of the client you got and the data you're going to get. What is the format which is most suitable for you? Now if you see here in this case, just go to the rate. Now you see it's not uniform rate, that 12% and 18%. Now I should be able to create dynamically ledgers dynamically based on this 12% and 18%. This is a little complicated, but just be with me, then I think you should be able to get it. Now I go to sales. And once you learn this, now it's very simple. Then it becomes very simple to do that, repeat it again. Now I got this same thing. I give the name of the company. Let's say ABC company. By default, it's picked up the invoice date, invoice type. Ledger name. What is the name of the party? So I give the party name is the one which should be debited. I say it's multiple. Then it tells you whether multiple GST rates in multiple rows. Yes, this is what is correct. Then I say next. Now here it gives me all this information. Okay. Now this is where it is most important. I should be able to select, in this case, what is that I need to select? I need to select for the GST rate. Okay, once I select the rate, now it has given me what are the name of the ledgers you want to give. So you have to give exactly at what is available in Tally or what you want it. GST, sales, let's say I give 12. And here I give GST sales 18. Now here, this is CGST 12, this is CGST 18, and this will be SGST 12, and then SGST 18. This is what I've done. I don't have IGST. If I have IGST, I can also go and select, and then I say convert. Now you see, based on this, it reads each of the rows and creates all the transactions one by one. Okay, now you see the bifurcation, all the sales bifurcation. Let's look at the preview vouchers. Okay, now you got this. Okay, now you see here, for each of this, it has taken debit sales and this is a corresponding credits you got. For each of the 12%, 18%, it has actually read each of the rows and converted it intelligently based on the type of the rows which is available. Right? So same thing, what do I do next? I have to save this. I'll save this with a particular name, and then once I've saved it, I can open that file and I can import. This is what is possible. Let me see, there's some issue with this one. Let me go ahead and pick up the next one. Let's say same thing I'll show you for purchases. I'm going to open the sample data. Okay, I say yes. Now just follow, see wherever possible, we try to make what is called as a consistent process, because if you learn one thing, so same data I've used, I've just changed it to purchases. Okay. Now what is that I've got? I've got GST purchases. Here also the same logic which you followed earlier. I got this data. What I'd like to do now is, I've got this E2Tally soft and I want to convert these purchases into Tally vouchers so that I can import. I got this data. I enter the name of the company. Okay, it has already picked up the invoice date, voucher type, voucher number. What is that field which has got the voucher number? Here I say it is the invoice number. Okay, I can also decide what is the number. This numbering is important. How you want the numbering to be. Is it the invoice number which is given for the purchases, or you want to give the purchase number and then invoice number separately? Now, what is the party to be debited? Party name, party credit. Now, here in this case, what is the party name? Now, here it's by default because purchase is taken credit. Okay. Now, this is a single one. So, it's a single. Now, you see the same pattern what I had done earlier. Header and ledger name. Now it could be possible there are some cases where I had the ledger name header and there are multiple this ledger names there. In that case, you can use the column with the ledger name. Okay, so I got the GST purchases here. I select. Okay, by default it's already got this header as ledger name, CGST, SGST. There is no IGST here. That's all. Now I say convert data. This should be able to convert all the purchases and give me a preview. I go to statistics. I can see that 4,31,316 entries are there. 316 entries have converted. I want to see the preview. I got the preview. See all these transactions. Now, if you see here, this is another interesting part which we learned recently. Now, when Tally wants the data for purchases, it's want the credit to be given first. Only then you can see the transaction correctly in Tally. So GST purchase debited, CGST, SGST. What are the ledger name you have in Tally? Accordingly, you can define it. Based on that, you can take. Now, all these rows, what do you do next? I'm sure most of you already got expertise now. You just save that as Excel file and use that Excel file and import into Tally. So your job is over. Now, the client has given you this data. Manually, just imagine if you have to do this, how much time it would have taken to do the manual data entry. Here, what you have to do is ensure the data is available in this format. The client has given this format. Okay, practically next time when you do the webinar, I'll show you with practical templates. Practical templates means the customers have got various templates. It's got so many columns. For example, there's the e-commerce firm which generates the report and gives them this is the billing you've done. From that, they want to import directly into Tally. That is possible. So in that case, you decide which of the columns you want, highlight them for your reference, know which is the debit and credit, and then you're ready to import. Okay, now we have seen the sales and purchases. Let me show you two more things. Now I have got the bank statement already done. Let me pick up the services JV. I'm going to pick up the transaction. We kept the sample data for your reference. Use the sample data as a template and modify and use it as required for you. Okay, you'd see study and check which is the one we have. This is for a flat association. Okay, they have association, building society, which has got apartment society. In fact, so they have got this debit which is done for the charges. Now in this case, we know what is to be debited. This party is to be debited, and the corresponding this one income is to be credited. Now there could be, let's say, 500 entries or 5,000 entries, doesn't matter. I want to convert this and import into Tally. How do I do that? I go to E2Tally soft, and then what is that I need to select? I need to select service or JV. Now it just reads the sheet, and again, same process. I just go and give the name of the company, or I can connect to Tally and pick up the name of the company. It's got the date. Now I have to go and give the voucher type. Which is the voucher type? Voucher type is already available here. Now voucher number, what is the voucher number here? I'm going to give the serial number as the voucher number. What is the narration? In this case, I don't have a narration. It's not mandatory. By default, it is already picked up the ledger name and the total as the figures which are to be debited. Now there could be single debits or there could be multiple debits. So here I say there are multiple debits, multiple credits. What are the multiple credits? I have painting fund, this one, and maintenance charge. These are three to be debited. Now in one case, we found that particular customer has got 12 entries. It doesn't matter. You'll read and dynamically pick up that particular items and pick what you want. What is the next step you have to follow? Just say convert the data. Now see, it has converted everything and it shows you what are the entries which you'll have. So what are the debit and what are the credit? You want to see the statistics? Look at the statistics. All the transactions from 1190 to 10119. This is amounting 12,91,000 have been converted. Let me see the preview of the vouchers. I got the preview of the vouchers, and this is what I'm going to save and import into Tally. Now, once I've save this. Let's say I've saved this as a template. I want to make some more changes. It's up to you. You want to make changes, add some more fields, you can do it. As long as they're in the template format, what we have given you, you can do that. Now we have done this. Now let's pick up. It's already 12:04. I'm going to take another 10 minutes, if that's okay with you. Formats, I'm going to pick up receipt payment. Yeah, okay, receipt payment I got two things, receipt or payment, or I have got receipt only. Here also, now in this case, I got receipt payments in one column. This is the format in which the data is prepared. Many of the formats we got from client CS who are actually using this. So here, if you see name of the bank, they got all this cash or bank in one particular entry, and they want to convert this. How do I do that? I just go to E2Tally soft and I pick up the receipt and payment. First, get an idea about what is to be debited, what is to be credited, what is to be selected. Once you know that, it becomes very simple. I select the name of the company. Let's say this time for a change, I'll make it as XYZ. Now I want to import both the receipts and the payment. Okay, I have got the transaction date. I'm going to give the voucher number. What is the voucher number? I'm going to take the serial number as the voucher number. Next, I've got the bank. Narration, it's not necessary. If you want, I can give the narration. Let's say I pick the narration. Okay, now I've got the bank and I've got the cash. Now in this case, what is the bank cash name? Which is the column which has got the bank cash name? So what is the name I have given? I've given it as name of the bank. Okay, now in this case, what is the next one? Column with cash or bank. This also again, I give it as name of the bank only because everything is single column. It could have been multiple parts. Party ledger name, I know this is the name of the party. Now this is single or multiple? The single only. Where is the amount available? Now here, if you see, that's where I said you need to understand the data. The debit and credit is available in a single column or a multiple column. Okay, if I say multiple, it'll give receipt and payment. Okay, now I just go here and say receipt. I select the receipt, and here in payment, I select the payment. Okay, and then I also have another interesting part here. I'm doing regular services for the client. No, I do not want to be doing this exercise every time. I got a standard template. I want to give it to the boys and they should be able to take care. What you can do is you can save this as a configuration. Once it's saved, it will be saved here with that particular company name in that Excel format. Next time when you open your E2Tally soft, by default that company configuration saved will come. You can select the configuration and by default read the worksheet and take the default configuration. You don't need to go and do the selection every time. Now, I convert the data. No data available. There's some issue here because I think I've done a wrong selection somewhere. So this is the validation we have kept. Name of the bank, receipt, payment. This column with the cash or bank cash name, right? What is the column with the cash and bank? I have not selected the amount. Where is the amount? 1 minute, let me just check. Voucher type, name of the bank, receipt, payment is taken. Yes. Party ledger name. Here name of the party is correct. Bank cash name. Column with cash and bank name. Okay. It looks like I made some mistake somewhere. Receipt payment is correct. Okay, let's see. No, I think there's some issue. This is a message it gives when it's not able to convert the data because not able to convert the data in that particular template. What are the mistake I've done? Bank cash. I think somewhere I made a mistake here. Name of the bank, voucher type, transaction type, bank or cash name. Okay. Name of the bank. Okay. Something has gone wrong. I think I missed something. Okay, let's leave this. I think there is some issue, small issue in this. Maybe next time I'll capture the demo and put this again. Now let's go to the next one, which is the last one I want to show you. Let's see, last two things. Yeah, I've got the salaries. This is an interesting part. And now this is also another thing which is being used by one of our clients. Now here, this one company has got, let's say, hundreds of employees. They generate the salary and from a separate software, payroll software, and they want to convert it to salary voucher. Now the problem is they wanted to convert it as an individual for each of the employees or the cost as per the cost center or cost category. They want to import this. Now I'll just show you how we can convert this as a voucher. So I go to salaries. Now here I select the company name. Okay, now here see this interesting part. Narration, employee name, I've given the narration. What is to be debited, what is to be credited, you should know very clearly. In this case, I'm going to debit the basic HRA, variable pay, conveyance, overtime pay. This is what is to be debited. Incentives, I don't need to take the total earnings because automatically it will take it. Okay, and what is to be deducted. Now you see, I did not show the deduction, this one, credits here. Okay, these are all the deductions. And then last part is I have to pick up the salary payable. That's all. That's all. Next, I say convert data. Now you see, we've already converted the data. I want to see the statistics. I got the statistics. Okay, now I say preview vouchers. Okay, now if you see here, it has created the entry debit and corresponding credit. Now with the cost category, in this case, I'm not given the cost category cost center details. I can give the cost center cost category details. I can also connect to Tally and do the validation. Okay, this is how we can do a salary voucher conversion. Now the most important thing, let me just give you the most important, the bottom line. Let me pick up one case and then I think you'll get an idea. We have this map vouchers, and this is where we have given you about 5 templates, 5 formats which you can import. Okay, before that, let me pick up on data. This is the, we can say the master stroke. Okay, what are data you have, what are format you got. Ultimately, what is that you're looking at? You have to know what is debit, what is credit. Okay, if you know what is debit, what is credit, now you got different formats. The data could be in this particular format. The data could be another format with minus. Okay, you pick what is the format is most comfortable for you. This is the 4th format. Now this is an interesting format. Okay, now here you see this debit is in one particular thing and credit, there are multiple accounts which are to be credited. Here for just convenience sake, we just given it as ledger 1, ledger 2 like that. I can give it a CGST, SGST, like whatever the ledgers is applicable I can do. I'll just show you this is the last one. Okay, now I just show you that using this format you can convert any type of data. Okay, so I am going to pick up the services JV format. No, I can use the service in JV format also for this. Yeah, that's another interesting thing. I can do it in multiple ways. Now here if you see, okay, I want to show map vouchers, but let me show through this also. What is the voucher type? Voucher type, voucher number. In this case, voucher number is the transaction ID. Get the data right. Narration, if I want, I can add the narration. Here, what is that I can get? I can have a single debit and multiple credits. In this case, the single debit, multiple credits. So I can go and select which is the debit. Party ledger is the debit, which is the account which has got a credit. Okay, what is the corresponding credit for this? This is the party amount. Okay, that's done. Now here for the corresponding credit, I have got multiple things. I say multiple. Now here, what are the things which has to be credited? Now here if you see, I have to select ledger 1, ledger 2, ledger 3, ledger 4, ledger 5. Okay, and I say convert. See, it also gives a validation. Please enter the company name. Why? Because it has to save the sheet with the company name. Okay, I say convert data. Your data is converted automatically. See, 9,000 debit credit. Look at the statistics. Now you tell me what format of data you got. You can use the multiple formats which you got and you can import the data. Okay, the same thing I can also do through the map vouchers format. The same data, I've got the same thing, I can do it in map voucher format. Now in the map voucher format, I can also have the option to add additional details. For example, I got the cost center, cost category, bill wise, all the things can also be added. So same thing if you see here, enter the company name, let's say XYZ. Okay, then I can also add the inventory, cost center, bill wise. In that case, if it is inventory, add additional columns for the inventory. If it is cost center, add additional columns for the cost center. If it is bill wise, add additional columns for the bill wise. I got the debit, I give the voucher number, right? The voucher type by default is taken. So here I have to give the single, what is the single ledger name? This is the party ledger. Okay, next I have got this corresponding credit, which is debit to credit column. Okay, this is a single or multiple. Here I say this 2. Okay. In this case, it could be possible the debit and credit is available in 2 columns. And based on that, I can select 1 minute. This is single. This multiple is what I have to select. Okay, this is Here I select the party ledger name. Okay, now here multiple, see same thing like what we have got the journal entry, same option is available. I can just go and select ledger 1, ledger 2, ledger 3, up to this ledger 5, and automatically this will be converted. Okay. I can also save debit credit. There are other options also available here. So it's asking you for which is the debit and credit column. In this case, I don't have that particular option. Okay. So depending on the need, you can convert. So this is what I wanted to quickly tell you, that you can convert. The most important thing, especially in the case of, let me stop sharing the screen and I'll pick up the questions if you have got any questions. I hope you got an idea how to do that. So simple thing, if you just put in 2 or 3 sentences. The first thing you